Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya dialogue.
And I
English.
think
It is time America woke up to this reality that you have Al-Qaeda, Hamas and Islamic State operatives teaching in your top universities. Supporting it because of some vague, stupid, romantic notion. You're so wrong. You're so wrong, but one day you will realize that you're wrong. And that day may be too late, Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. You remember that Stanford professor that we've been talking about for the past couple of days? That Stanford professor actually in his class segregated the Jewish students from the non-Jewish students, and he told the Jewish students that you are occupiers. Now, these Jewish students had nothing to do with Israel's policies whatsoever. But this man, he was so overcome by religious hatred that he segregated the Jewish students and said, no, you're occupiers. And then he asked a random question in the class. How many Jews died in the Holocaust? And somebody said, 6 million. And he said, only 6 million. And there is other stuff that this guy said, and I'm going to tell you. Colonizers killed more than 6 million. Israel is a colonizer. And then he went on to say that Hamas is a legitimate representation of the Palestinian people. They are not a terrorist group. They are freedom fighters. Their actions are legitimate. Now, this man, his name is Amir Hassan. The professor here is Amir Hassan, the professor in question. He's teaching in Stanford. All right. Now, he's a Stanford professor. And he received his bachelor's, master's and doctorate in Africana studies at the University of California at Berkeley. His research there was focused on how reality television affects the perception of African Americans outside the television space. Now, there is a lot of, this is a point of concern, there is a lot of pro-Hamas activism on Stanford's campus. Right? And there are bedsheets hung from various buildings which say that the Israeli occupation is nothing but an illusion of dust. One sheet read, another claimed the illusion of Israel is burning. Now, you see, where did all this poison come from? Obviously, countries like the United States of America or even the European Union and UK. You have to be sure about this when you say UK because UK is no longer part of the EU. And so many other countries like Australia and New Zealand. I think they don't have any benchmarks at all. Anybody can just come in and become a citizen. Anybody can just come in. I mean, we would never allow that in India. If we knew, you see, you can't say that I want to become a citizen of the United States and then say something which is pro-Al-Qaeda. You understand? So, because Al-Qaeda has hurt the United States, there was 9/11, of course. So that will never be tolerated in the United States of America. Why does America tolerate Hamas, which is just like Al-Qaeda or the Islamic State? As brutal. Why would America tolerate it? Why would you have such people like this guy, Amir Hassan, in America at all? Forget about him teaching kids. Do you understand what kind of venom he must be, injecting into American kids who are studying there? Because at the end of the day, Stanford is Stanford. And Stanford is a massive, massive name. Now, Amir Hassan spreads poison every time. And Amir Hassan is essentially a jihadi. Amir Hassan is textbook Al-Qaeda. And I'll tell you why I'm saying he's textbook Al-Qaeda. So there are two kinds of issues that happen side by side whenever terrorism happens. One, people like Hamas who are physically doing terrorism. They can be sorted out, they can be neutralized. It's a military option when you do that. So Israel is doing that very well. Ladies and gentlemen, the problem is when you have a set of people who are exactly the same as Hamas, Al-Qaeda and Islamic State in their beliefs, in their perception, in their daily life, except that instead of an AK-47, they have, a laptop in their hands. These people are far more dangerous than the Hamas terrorist with an AK-47. The Hamas terrorist with an AK-47 will kill 5, 10, 15 people. These people with a laptop will spoil an entire generation. And I think it is time America woke up to this reality that you have Al-Qaeda, Hamas and Islamic State operatives teaching in your top universities. And why would America give visa to all these students? These pro-Hamas students. They're actually celebrating the killing of Jewish babies. They're actually celebrating the killing of Israeli toddlers and infants. And these are the people who are studying at Stanford. You can take a man out of Palestine. You can never take Palestine out of that man. He will remain a terror sympathizer. Whatever Mahmoud Abbas, their president, says, their president will say that, Hamas does not speak for us, and we are different, and the PLO is the Palestinian Liberation Organization is the only true leader of the Palestinian people. No. The fact of the matter is that Hamas rules Palestine. PLO is just a screensaver. Hamas controls everything there. You see, on paper, PLO is the boss. There is no doubting it. On paper. So any head of state comes, he meets the head of the PLO, or he meets Mahmoud Abbas or whatever. Nobody will meet the Hamas directly, but Hamas controls everything. Today, because of the bombing that is going on in Gaza, Mahmoud Abbas, the president of Palestine, says that, we don't agree with what Hamas does. He never said it before. He should have said it immediately on Saturday. When Hamas started off on a killing spree, he should have come on national television and say that what Hamas is doing is absolutely pathetic and we don't stand with Hamas and we will take all the action under Palestinian law. No. They never said that because at heart, all these people are Hamas supporters. And this is something for America to, America still has some saving grace left. But if you look at Europe, Europe has mostly fallen. But one thing I'm very happy to report, this can never happen in India. We know exactly what Hamas is doing. And anybody who raises a pipsqueak about Hamas, a 1% support about Hamas, we know how to deal with such people. People tried in our universities. FIRs have been filed against them. And if anybody tries anything funny, you never know which cases will be filed. We will not stand, whatever intellectual gymnastics you want to play, whatever fire support you want to give to the Hamas, to the people of India, it's not acceptable at all. What Hamas is doing, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable 1%. And I stand with Israel in this. And then there is this very funny story of Pakistanis wanting to fight jihad in Palestine. And I want to spend a few minutes before I move on to the next story. Now, there is a wave literally on Pakistani social media where everybody's supporting Palestine and Hamas, and that's okay because Pakistan will support Hamas. Pakistan will support Al-Qaeda because that is the kind of people they are, self-exploding kinds. So what Pakistan did was, all the Pakistanis on the street, they're saying that we want permission from our government to go and fight in Palestine. We want to go and fight. We want to stand shoulder to shoulder with Hamas and fight against the Israeli occupiers. This is what Pakistanis are saying in Pakistan all across. And they're saying it repetitively. We want permission. Please give us permission. Please give us permission. They're telling the government to give them permission so they can go and fight against quote-unquote Israeli occupiers. Now, I want to ask the Pakistanis one thing here. And correct me if I'm wrong, please. And I could be totally wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. When Pakistanis take a boat and illegally try to enter Greece, many a times, I think 3-4 times, I've known that boats have sunk with a lot of nationalities. Last time it sank with, I think, 200 or 300 or 400 Pakistanis, I don't know what, but they were in the hundreds. When Pakistanis want to illegally enter Europe or America or Australia or New Zealand or Canada, do they take permission from their government? Do Pakistanis take permission from their government when they want to go to Saudi Arabia and UAE to beg? There was a massive report in the newspapers that Saudi Arabia started deporting Pakistanis because they're begging everywhere. 90%, ladies and gentlemen, 90% of all international beggars who are in jail in various countries, 90% of them are Pakistanis. So all those 90%, and there are thousands upon thousands of them, maybe millions, who knows? Have all these guys taken permission from their government to go to Saudi Arabia and beg? Or go to Canada and accept the unemployment dole? Have they taken permission? No, they haven't. The problem is that the Pakistanis want to talk. They don't want to do anything. All this loud noise about wanting to support Hamas and Palestine is all gas. The Pakistanis will never do anything like that. They're smart people in the sense that they know where the money is. They know there is no money in Palestine. All they want to do is convince the other Pakistani that he's a good Muslim and he's a good Muslim. That's all. That is all the Pakistani celebrities are tweeting and putting it on Instagram. I want to know how many of them will actually go to Palestine right now. Will they go? Will Pakistanis go? Will Pakistani actors actually start sending money to Hamas? I want Pakistani celebrities, and many of them are pretty rich. Please write a check of at least 10 lakh rupees. Go to the Hamas website. You can easily find out where to donate money. Please donate money to Hamas. I want Pakistanis to donate money to Hamas. All this talk about jihad is useless. They will abuse, typical Pakistani character. They will abuse America. At night, in a TV debate, they will abuse America. And in the morning, like beggars, they'll be standing outside the same embassy requesting for a visa to enter America. Ditto for Europe. They'll abuse the Christian countries, the white countries, the wealthy countries, the Western countries. All Pakistanis do that. They'll abuse them at night. Next morning, like beggars, they are standing outside for visa to these very countries. And Pakistanis, if I'm wrong, do write in the comment section. Because I know I'm right. I stand by what I say. You do not dare go to Gaza and fight. All you can do is stand at some street corner in Lahore and yap. Typical Pakistani you are. All right? So relax. Now, hostages in areas that Hamas knows will bomb. Israel's ex-top advisor by Eyal Hulata. This is a comment by Eyal Hulata. He said that, these are strategic targets. So, Israeli Air Force and Israeli Army know which places to hit, right? Which are the sensitive targets that they must hit. Hamas headquarters or some Hamas site or Hamas ammunition dump. This is exactly where Hamas is keeping the hostages. So that Israel does not bomb these places. This is exactly what they're doing. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Hamas for you. All those people studying in Stanford and a lot of them studying in Indian universities also. Idiots to the last person. No idea what is happening in the world. Some vague concept of wokeism in their minds that we will do this and therefore this will happen and we are actually, you don't make any difference to the world. At best, on your best day, you are irritants. I'm talking about all these students who are going gaga about supporting Palestine cause and Hamas. At best, you are irritants. At best. I mean, come on. If you're supporting terrorists, please don't forget that this is the ideology that caused 26/11 in India. This is the ideology that caused more than 40,000 people to die in Kashmir Valley. This is the ideology that led to thousands upon thousands of deaths in Punjab. The same ideology like Hamas. And if Indian students are supporting it because of some vague, stupid, romantic notion, you're so wrong. You're so wrong, but one day you will realize that you're wrong. And that day may be too late, The Israeli communications minister, Shlomo Karhi, said that he would bring it to the cabinet, and it's probably being done as we speak. He was seeking a possible closure of Al Jazeera's local bureau and accused the Qatari news station of pro-Hamas incitement and exposing Israeli soldiers to potential attack from Gaza. Yeah, last time I remember they had bombed, Al Jazeera or Reuters or one of these things. Al Jazeera, yeah. I mean, IDF, don't ask them to leave. Just throw them in prison. Al Jazeera is not a media network. Al Jazeera is part of Qatari intelligence. Al Jazeera is very well funded and Al Jazeera is in the guise of an international news network. Al Jazeera spreads the same ideology that Al Qaeda is known for. They're the same kind of people. Think of Al Jazeera as the media wing of Al Qaeda or the Islamic State. And I'm saying this with a great deal of responsibility because they will never report, or their reports are going to be extremely superficial when you talk about Hamas attacking and killing Israeli babies and the elderly and slaughtering people in their homes. It's okay, this happened and Hamas militants attacked, never terrorists, militants attacked. This is what Al Jazeera says. Al Jazeera should be named Al Qaeda actually. Both have Al in front of their names. In place of Jazeera, read Qaeda. That's it. It's Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda News Network. And Al Jazeera, today, the Israelis are saying that, what they're doing. It's very funny, yeah? These guys, and I'm saying that this is a station that incites, this is a station that films troops in assembly areas outside Gaza, that incites against the citizens of Israel, a propaganda mouthpiece. This is what it is. This is exactly what it is, and this is what Al Jazeera is doing. And Al Jazeera has been doing it for we should ban it in India also. We should ban Al Jazeera in India. It's nothing. It's a radical Islamist mouthpiece. That is what Al Jazeera is. Nikki Haley slams Islamic countries for closing doors for civilians from Gaza. Republican leader Nikki Haley on Sunday slammed Islamic countries for not opening their gates for civilians from Gaza who are seeking to flee their homes in the face of an imminent ground invasion by Israel. She also hit out at former US President Barack Obama and Joe Biden, the incumbent, over Iranian nuclear deal and accused Tehran of strengthening Hamas and Hezbollah. We should care about Palestinian citizens, especially the innocent ones, because they didn't ask for this. But where are the Arab countries? Where are they? Where is Qatar? Where is Lebanon? Where is Jordan? Where is Egypt? Do you know we give Egypt over $1 billion a year? Why aren't they opening the gates? Why aren't they taking Palestinians? Well, Nikki Haley, let me tell you, they are smart. They are smart. You don't know Nikki Haley, so let me educate you. Or maybe you know, but you don't remember or you don't want to say this publicly, but I will, because I'm not running for public office, all right? All these Muslim countries that you mentioned, all right? Let me rename these countries. Because Nikki Haley took their names, let me rename these countries. She spoke about Qatar, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt. And she asks, why aren't they taking in Palestinians? Nikki Haley, they are not taking in Palestinians because they are not fools. They are not fools. Let me explain. After the 1967 war, often known as the Six-Day War, in which Israel fought against 5 countries and defeated all 5, Palestinians ran away from Gaza and other places in Palestine in large numbers, and they went to Jordan. When they went to Jordan, they settled down. The king of Jordan was extremely gracious and kind. He says, my fellow Muslims, come settle down here. And whatever little facilities he could give, whatever he could afford, he gave. The Palestinians started making gangs. They started making gangs. They started kidnapping people in Jordan. They started demanding ransom for kidnapped people. They put up roadblocks, not allowing Jordanian citizens to move from one place to the other. They started attacking Jordanian army posts, and they also plotted a coup against the king of Jordan, their host. So the king of Jordan was very upset, and he called upon various countries to help him because he thought that I cannot get rid of these Palestinians. So the king of Jordan actually called 2-3 countries. One country that responded was Pakistan, and Pakistan sent this brigadier with a few thousand troops, this radical Islamist Maulvi Mullah of a brigadier. And they said, you go and sort it out. So he became an advisor, this brigadier, he became advisor to the king of Jordan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when they tried again, all these guys from Palestine, when they tried their funny tricks again, this time the king of Jordan, he summoned the Pakistani brigadier and he said, sort these people out. It was in September 1970. That September is still today called Black September. Over 25,000 Palestinians were killed by Pakistani troops. And you know the name of the brigadier? His name was Brigadier Ziaul Haq, who later on became the army chief and the president of Pakistan. Yes, my friends, you heard that right. Ziaul Haq and the Pakistan army was guilty of the murder of 25,000 Palestinians because Ziaul Haq took money from the king of Jordan. All this was done for money. Pakistani army took money. He took money. Everybody took money. Personal wealth. Personal wealth. They took money into their personal accounts. And this is all about Pakistan's support to the quote-unquote Palestinian freedom fighters. All right? Now, Nikki Haley, is it clear to you why these countries are not allowing? Why doesn't Saudi Arabia allow Rohingya Muslims in Saudi Arabia? It's pocket change for Saudi Arabia. It's pocket change. 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1 million. For Saudi Arabia, it's pocket change. Saudi Arabia is gushing oil from everywhere. it can afford, and these are Muslims, and Saudi Arabia is the headquarters of Islam. I'll not be wrong in saying that it is the headquarters of Islam. Haramain Sharif, Makkah, Medina are there in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has not even taken one of these guys because they know that Saudi Arabia is a stable country, both politically and economically. And once you have a couple of thousand Palestinians in Saudi Arabia, that will be the end of Saudi Arabia. They tried to end Jordan once, now they'll end Saudi Arabia, they'll end UAE. None of these wealthy Muslim countries, and even mid-level Muslim countries, that have some money in the bank, nobody wants, everybody will support Palestine, but they'll support Palestine from a distance. They'll support Palestine from 10 kilometers. Nobody wants to welcome, I'm talking about Muslim countries, nobody wants to welcome them into their homes. We need to ask ourselves, why? So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this video. Now I'll go to the question and answers. The first question is Amiya Dash. Why all through the world in the so-called coveted institutions of education, the support for terror groups and their acts in the name of freedom is always overwhelming? Is this the pedagogy, the environment, the professors or something? I think it's more about, I think students in many of these elite institutions overestimate themselves. They can't pay their fees, right? Most of them have taken loans or taken money from their parents. But there is this sense of wanting to change the world and wanting to stand for what they think is right, many of them. I'm not talking about the Palestinians or the Syrians or the Yemenis here. They are gone cases anyway. They are born and bred in that bed of terror. So they'll always support terrorists. That is their national cause. But all these other students, it's also the professors, like that professor Amir Hassan, what's his name, from Stanford. Such people. So it's an ecosystem that it functions in India also. You have a lot of people in our universities, especially JNU, supporting Maoists. And most of them have no clue what Maoists have done. No clue. And neither do they want to know. It's just there. That's it. When Israel says leave to the civilians, won't these Hamas virus leave with the civilians? How do countries identify? Okay, so you want to know why the Hamas leave with the civilians, and how do countries identify? They know. They know the Hamas people, most of the Hamas people. Israel has a database. How do you think they kill all these Hamas commanders? Right down from the foot soldiers to the generals. They have, Israel has the database. They can pick and choose and eliminate as they want. It's not a problem for Israel actually. Question to you, this is Diamond. Hello Diamond Ji. Question to you, as Gazans are moving to the south, will Hamas terrorists also flee with them, and how will identify? So this is the same question again which has come up, and I have already answered it. I have a question. Initially, there were news of killing of Israel's children by Hamas, but nowadays a new thing is going on viral on social media. These killings are just images generated by AI and its plan of USA. Sir, please with your sources clear this doubt, whether this is a rumor or reality. First of all, Hamas people went and killed Israeli children, right? And now they are saying AI, artificial intelligence. They always do that. These radical Islamists, you see, the beauty about radical Islamist organizations like Hamas is that their audience is stupid. It's like being in Pakistan. A TV anchor in Pakistan can say anything because his audience is stupid. There is low IQ in Pakistan. People are not educated. Similarly with Hamas and all these, countries, not all Muslim countries, some of them are very highly educated. Bangladesh is an educated country. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Malaysia, in the sense that Malaysia has a lot of Muslims. Indonesia, the largest Muslim country. All these countries don't have this problem. There are few Muslim countries that have this problem, So, Osama bin Laden says, hey, you know what? I did 9/11. And there'll be a bunch of radical Islams. No, it's a Jewish conspiracy. That day, no Jew came to office. And you keep on repeating this lie. So this is the bane, I think, of many Muslim countries. Making up stuff and telling lies to their own children. And there is nothing we can do about it. And Israel does not even care what these people say, whether it's AI generated, non-AI generated. Israel does not care. You see what these people say, whether it's AI generated or not. Israel has made up its mind. It's going to whack them. And that whacking is going on. So ladies and gentlemen, how do you like this video? If you did, press the like button. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.